If you're connected to your fear and your ego, it is a window wide open for an entity. If you're truly connected to your soul, you'll be in alignment, you'll be living life, you'll be loving things will feel really good, you'll be manifesting the things that you want, and the entity will have absolutely no place. Is God really talking to you? Is God telling you what you should and shouldn't be doing? Is he sharing with you what's right, what's wrong, what's good, what's evil? Or are you actually connecting with an entity? Is what you think is you're communicating with God actually something that's hurting you, harming you, and disconnecting you even deeper from your truth and from your reality? In today's episode of The Psychic Within, I'm going to show you how to discern between a conversation with God and a conversation with entities, low vibrational beings, or even your own mind and imagination coming in and tricking you. If you are new to me, welcome. My name is Carrie Cardozo. I'm a master psychic and energy worker. And right now I am recording my Psychic Within podcast live. If this is something that you want to join me, be sure to like and subscribe and come on over to any of my social media or click the link below. And you can join me live on any Wednesday at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time when I dive into these podcasts, as well as answer some of your questions regarding the topics. So today's topic is one of a kind of like a spicy one. And I want to kind of put a disclaimer in this is that I am not affiliated with any religion. I actually don't have any opinions, personal opinions about religion. I respect every single one of them. I was not raised religious, so I don't have an emotional connection to religion. But I do have a relationship with God and Jesus. I will share with you that the very first being I ever saw standing at the end of my bed when I was between about 2 or 3 years old was Jesus. And I've had a relationship with God and Jesus my entire life. So this isn't about tearing apart religions. This isn't about getting to not communicate with God or Jesus. This is about really understanding what is going on in the world today, because back in 2012 is when this first started. Now, I wasn't actively channeling entities or anything like that in 2012. I didn't really start that till 2014. But in about 2017, it's like the whole world in the psychic industry exploded with entities and with entities affecting people regarding God. And when that came about, I did some deep dive digging with my guides to really understand what is going on, what is happening, why this is happening, and what people need to know. And one of the things that is important, and I've seen more and more and more, so it started back in 2012, and then there was this huge like storm that hit the psychic industry, and I'll tell you about that. I'm sure some of you guys know about it. And then lately I have been seeing an upsurge in psychics who are leaving the world of like psychic and energy worker, or even people who are spiritual, but this is specifically psychics, okay? But people who are spiritual are leaving the spiritual world, are leaving the psychic world, are leaving the energetic world, and they're like flocking to religion, and they're doing it under the guise of God told them to. God told them that they have to renounce all the things that they've been doing, and all the things are bad, and now they have to just go back into religion because that's the only right thing, or that's the thing that's going to save them, or that's the thing that's fill in the blank. There's lots of different information that is coming through that people oftentimes receive. Now, back in 2017, I don't know if you guys remember this. I think it was about 2017, maybe even 2016. I didn't do my research on the dates, okay? There was a very well-known angel channel who carved a path for so many other psychics, including myself and many of us who are here. And she did amazing work. I have so much respect for the work and the path that she traveled and the doors that she opened for psychics and energy workers and angel channels and mediums. And she had courses and books and cards and amazing. She literally lived her life in the embodiment as a psychic. And I think she actually called herself an angel channel. And then out of nowhere, she renounced all of her stuff. She just was like, I want no affiliation with any of this. It's all the devil's work. It's bad. It's hold bad energy. And she did this under the assumption and under the message that it came from Jesus. I cannot even tell you how many people were in my DMs, were in my group. Any of my clients reached out to me and were like, what is going on? And is Jesus really saying these things? Not only did she say that all the stuff that she did was bad, but she also went as far to say that a ton of things were bad and evil and demonic, from yoga to Harry Potter to incense to tarot cards, like you name it, crystals, anything. I want you to think of any single thing in the metaphysical world. That is what she said was demonic, and including talking to departed loved ones. I think she stated that the only thing she had permission to communicate with was angels. And people were like, what is going on? Is Jesus really saying this? And Jesus was not saying that. And although she changed and shifted her business from, instead of talking about psychic stuff and frequencies and energy, she all of a sudden went and just started talking about messages from Jesus. Now, one of the things that I am a master at, it is something that I am never wrong at, is reading energetics. And so the first thing I did wasn't to connect with Jesus, because I know what Jesus talks about. I talk to Jesus all the time. I first went and read the energetics of what she is communicating with. And she was not communicating with Jesus. Not at all. It wasn't Jesus who was sharing any of this information. I didn't look at whether tarot cards were bad or whether crystals were bad. I didn't need to, because I know the vibrations of them. I went to look at who she actually talking with. And this was one of the biggest examples and greatest lessons, if we chose to look at it in the psychic community, although many people have not, because we're repeating it again today, is that psychics and mediums and angel channels and all of the like, for years and years and years, were simply telephones. And here's what I mean by that. Is that a spirit would come in and be like, I have a message for so-and-so. And the person would be like, okay, I'll give them the message. And the being would be like, I'm Jesus. Or the being would be like, I'm their grandmother. Or I'm, Archangel Michael. And they'd be like, okay, that's great. And they would give them the message, but they were not able, they didn't have the tools, they didn't have the skills, they didn't have the means to check as to whether what the being said was accurate, if the being was truly who they said they were. And this is one of the things that I speak about all the time, whether it's teaching my psychics on all levels, whether it's in my foundation level of the shift, whether it's inside my membership, is I constantly tell my clients that before you communicate with any being, you absolutely need to know how to read energetics. Because when you read energetics, you're no longer a telephone. You're not just blindly picking it up without caller ID, like I'm dating myself, but think back to when we were little. We answered the phone and we're like, hello? And they're like, hey, this is so-and-so. You had to believe them unless you knew their voice. You're like, oh, okay, hi. We didn't have caller ID. We didn't have means to say, to find out who was on that other side. That's what psychics were doing until we have those means. A being can lie, but energetics can't. So if you learn how to read energetics, even if a being says, hey, I'm Jesus, or hey, I'm your grandma, or hey, I'm your master guide, if you're reading their energetics, you know if they're lying. You know if they're actually hold the vibration of Jesus, or they hold the vibration of your departed grandmother, or whoever it is. And we didn't do that for so long. Now, because beings and entities saw that opportunity, they kept pushing. And because people get so excited about talking to their guides, they get so excited about being able to hear and being able to receive and, get an answer to a question, which, believe me, it's really exciting, especially when it first happens, especially when you need an answer to something, or it feels just when these energies come in, it like ignites an energy inside of you and you can feel really, really powerful. And people get caught up in the fact that they can hear and they can listen and they can read and they think that the beings that they're talking to are communicating with them. And now we see more and more and more of this happen from people reaching out to me. Some are absolutely clients, some are followers with this exact same experience I've also seen publicly psychics post things about what God said to them, or God told them to leave a practice that they were doing and now they found religion again and they're back there. And I can't help but read the energetics around what you're saying. And whether you believe you're talking to God or not, most of the time, people are not. And most of the time, the beings that are delivering these messages are not God and not Jesus. And they're actually what we would call entities or false entities or false beings, which are actually low vibrational beings. So there are beings out in the universe that are not of the highest good. I know that there is a belief with some people that all guides, I'm using quotation marks for angels because a true angel has a fine vibration. The vibration is relatively high or really good. It's in the light, what people call the light. But there are beings that will say they're angels, or there are beings that will say they're archangels. There are beings everywhere that exist. Just like in the physical world, there's beings who do deceiving things. They can do harmful things to people. They can lie to people. Beings, spiritual beings, guides, all those kinds of things, they do it as well. And here's why they do it is because they feed off of and get more energy when you're in fear, when you're out of your power, when they're controlling you, when you're doing what they say. And their ultimate goal is to bring chaos and fear in what we would call low vibrational energy to the human race. Because look what happens when we're in that energy. We go crazy. When we think that something's going to happen or there's chaos or we don't like what's going on, what do humans do? We create more drama. Humans are addicted to drama. Low vibrational beings love it. Low vibrational beings love fear. They love anger. They love chaos. And what it does is it gives them more power. And so what is happening is that there is a distinctive collective. And a collective is like a whole group. I want you to think of like, a group of people all concentrated doing the same things. There is a group of entities that are coming to this earth specifically to mess with psychics and mess with people, portraying themselves as either God or Jesus. I very seldom see one portraying themselves as like Mother Mary, but I have seen it. It's just much more influential for them to say they're God or Jesus, and they're actually not. And what's happening is that these beings have created such a fear around spirituality, spiritual things, metaphysical things, claiming that they're all bad, claiming that they're the devil's work. And first of all, there's no hell, there's no devil. If you know how to read through different planes of existence, it just doesn't exist in the same way that it is explained to people. It doesn't exist that way. But what the entities are doing and why they're coming here is, for one, there's chaos here on Earth. There is mass chaos. And whenever something happens, whether we like the person or we don't like the person, or we agree with the situation or don't agree with the situation, what does it create? More separation. As we are becoming separate and we're fighting and we're arguing and we're disagreeing with people, not only as a collective of humans are we less powerful, but as a collective of beings and a collective of spirits and souls, we are so much less powerful. And when people are in this energy of chaos, what do humans do? We instinctively, which is a great thing, this is not a bad thing, but we instinctively try to find our faith. We look at, oh my gosh, if the world is ending, if everyone is dying, if there's mass casualties, if, my life is uncertain, if there could be a pandemic right around the corner, you insert the thing that could happen, then I must get right with my faith. Then I must find something to believe in. I must make sure that I'm doing the right thing so that when I die, X, Y, and Z happens. And there is so much of that going on in the world. And finding your faith is not a bad thing. If anything, it's a phenomenal thing. It's what I teach. It's part of what I teach. Why we connect with our soul is to find our truth, to find our faith, to find what we believe in, to find what is our truth, what is existence. But what's happening here is we're finding our faith in the energy of fear. And when you're finding your faith in the energy of fear, either your mind kicks in and fills in the blanks about how bad you are, what you should be doing, or this bad thing is going to happen if you don't do X, Y, and Z. as well as, especially if you're a psychic, energy worker, medium, angel channel, you fall in the blank with spirituality aspect. The entities are like, oh my God, this person is looking for someone to follow. This person is looking for advice. This person is praying and they don't even know who they're praying to. And they're opening up for a message. And here I am ready to bring this message in because it creates that chaos. They like that. They like that fear. They like that control. They like that, hey, I don't know what to do, so you tell me what to do and I'm going to do it. They like that. Okay. Now, another reason why they're coming after psychics specifically, aside from the obvious that psychics can communicate with the other side freely and they actively do it, but psychics want to do the right thing. Okay. If you're a psychic here and you're sitting here with me now, I want you to think about that. Most of the time as psychics, we're here bringing messages from God, we're bringing messages from source, we're bringing messages from angels. We're here to serve. We have this underlying energy of belief of like, I'm supposed to be serving and you just serve. And we have this like self-righteous aspect or servitude aspect of, I want to do the right thing. I want to make sure I'm doing the right thing. And oftentimes that comes from a lack energy. It comes from a mistrust energy. It comes from a misalignment with self, which creates a lower vibrational frequency within inside of you, but it also creates an obedience inside of you. So if you think God is telling you to do something, you're going to be like, I'm doing it because I want to do the right thing. I don't want to do wrong. I don't want to hurt people. I'm here to serve. I'm here to support people and guide people. If God is telling you to do X, Y, and Z, I'm going to do it. And oftentimes in that process, we're not doing our own discernment in that energy because we're so focused on, I have to do the right thing. I have to do the right thing. Now, psychics are also expanding our consciousness. So is the whole world, whether they're unconsciously expanding their consciousness or not. But as we continue to evolve as a global collective, we're expanding our consciousness. As we expand our consciousness, it means that our consciousness on its own is opening it up to more things. So you're opening up to try to find the truth, to try to understand what's real, to have a deeper connection with source, God, Jesus, whoever it is. And oftentimes it's in a grabbing aspect. It's an I need this and I need this and searching for that information. I will never forget that it just really sticks out to me. It's not the only person who said this. People say this to me all the time. It's one of my things that if you were my client, you would never say this to me. But I was on a call with a woman who had just recently opened up her psychic gifts. She was not working with me. We were discussing something else. It was during an interview. And one of the things that she said to me is, oh my God, I'm getting messages. And I was like, oh, that's amazing. And she's like, yeah, I got this message and then insert message. I don't even remember what it was, but I remember being like, oh, and I said to her, who told you that? And she's like, oh, I don't know, a being. And I was like, okay, but like, who told you the message? Like, why did you believe what you heard? Because she's like, because it came from a being. Like, I am connecting. I'm getting deeper. I'm getting universal truths. And this is one of them. And I was just like, I said to her, hey, listen, part of the thing that I do is I read the energetics. I don't necessarily agree with what this being said to you. And what's super important is I would never collect any information from anybody that you don't know who it is. And I stand true to that to this day. I will not talk with a being if I don't know who it is. I want you to think about the same thing. Would you open your front door for someone you didn't know who it is? Not in today's world. Not in today's world. You shouldn't do that. You shouldn't be doing it with your gifts either, but psychics are doing it unconsciously. Psychics are expanding their consciousness at a rapid pace because of the shift in the energetics, which means ultimately your gifts are going to open up faster, and that doorway to the other side might open even when you don't want it to. Those messages might come in even when you're not asking for them. That's why knowing how to control your channels and knowing how to work with energy and do your due diligence and keep energy out that you don't want is super, super important, okay? Now, one of the other things is that along with the chaos, and especially psychics, is humanity is in a very vulnerable state right now. We are in an incredibly vulnerable state where we are searching for the truth. We are searching to understand. We are searching to tap into our power. We are searching for the right thing to do. And those beings, because we're in this vulnerable state, entities love vulnerability. They love that aspect of seeing humans out of their power, seeing humans in a questioning space, seeing humans disconnected from their soul. And when that happens, these entities just swoop on down in order to connect with us. they're also in that same aspect, they're playing with fear. We are in a fear-based. I even see some psychics, the things that they share and the things that they're saying is in fear-based energy. That opens you up to entities as well. And my rule of thumb is anything that's in a fear-based energy is not a good thing. Anything that's fear-based. So let's dive into how do you know? Because I'm going into it anyways. So that's great, Carrie. You're sharing all this information. You're telling us all, oh my God, look out. There's entities that are, that are going to trick you. There's entities that are going to communicate with you, pretending to be God, and it's not really God. But how do we actually know when we're connecting with God, when we're connecting with an entity, if this is something, that I should be listening to? Because one of the things that I've seen with a couple people who have reached out to me is that they're using really valid points. Now, don't get me wrong. Entities have low vibrational energy. They really do. It doesn't mean they're dumb. There actually can be some of the most smart, conniving, and powerful beings out there. They know what buttons to push with you. They know exactly what to say. They will even bring proof from your world as to what they're saying. Well, the only reason there's proof in your world isn't because they're right. It's because we live in a world of rapid manifestation, and everybody's focused on the fact that manifestation is the things that you want to unfold. It's not. It's literally anything in your life. And if you're in fear or you're in doubt or you're in disconnect from your soul, you're going to be manifesting some pretty chaotic things in your life, or you're going to be manifesting things that they can actually use that you actually created, not because what you're doing is bad, not because of the things, the cards or the crystals or whatever it is are bad, but because of the fact that you have a fear around them, because of the fact that you don't trust, because of the fact that you're questioning your psychic gifts. So the more that we're expanding into our psychic gifts as psychics, the more we question our psychic gifts. We're like, oh, I don't know if this is right. I don't know if I should be doing this. I don't know if that's the right thing because this person over here says tarot cards are evil. This person over here says yoga is evil. This person over here says Harry Potter is evil. And the people aren't trusting their own abilities. So these beings are incredibly smart. And they're convincing people of what they want them to convince, what they want them to believe. And the ultimate reason is disconnection from self. Okay. So how do you know when you're connecting with an entity? For one, and I use this rule of thumb all the time. Okay. All the time, 100% of the time. If what you are receiving is either filled with fear or triggers a fear within inside of you, don't listen to it. I'm going to say it again because it's so important. If the information you are receiving, if the words that the guide is speaking to you is filled with fear or creates a fear response within inside of you, it is not for you. Stop listening to them. It's not for you. And you might say, I know, but Carrie, what if my guide is telling me to raise my prices to, $600 a session and I'm scared of that? Cool. It's still not for you. Because even if you're supposed to raise your prices to $600, but you have fear around it, don't do it. Clear the fear. Figure out where the fear is coming from. Clear that. Don't do it because you'll be out of alignment. Nothing that is fear-based is in alignment ever, ever. So any single thing that brings fear, causes fear, talks about fear, talks in an angry way, talks in a controlling way is not God. It's not source. It's not high vibration. You shouldn't be listening to it. Okay. Number two, how to know if you're communicating with an entity is this being will tell you what to do or what not to do. I have been communicating with God and Jesus since I was 3 years old. I'm 45. There is not a single time. And I literally, in between my last call and this call, it was a half hour's worth of time. I was like, please show me a time when you ever told me what to do or what not to do in 42 years. Please just give me, because I can't consciously think of one. There is not a single moment that God or Jesus has ever told me what to do or what not to do. Ever. Ever. And neither of them will step forward to show me a time that they did because it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. God does not tell you what to do. Jesus doesn't tell you what to do. You have 100% free will in this life. They will never say, neither of them will say, no high vibrational being will say, you can't do that. If you ask them, is this for my highest good? They might say, this isn't for your highest good. Or they will say, if you do this, this could happen. But the choice and the decision is always in your hands. It is never, I want you to think of them as like the most aligned parent. The most aligned parent for somebody who is not like a newborn or anything like that. It makes me think of like my kids. I don't tell them what they should do. I let them do what they want. There's no right or wrong, good or bad. They get to do what they want. They'll also face the consequences, or they'll face like the reaction or the manifestation of it. But I don't tell them what to do. Source, God, Jesus does not tell you what to do ever, or what not to do. So if something is telling you what to do or what not to do, meaning like get rid of those cards, don't talk to that person, they're bad, I would question as to whether you should listen to them, because that is one thing they do not do. They have never done. Okay. So I want you to pay attention to the message and the words. If they make you feel guilty about something, if they make you feel bad about something, if they make it as if you were wrong for something, a huge red flag. Huge red flag. If they tell you or emphasize that something is good or bad or evil, the source doesn't do that. One of the things, which I can do a whole other, podcast on this, is God doesn't look at something and be like, that's evil and that's good. God is everything. I know there's some psychics out there that don't believe this, because I don't think they actually understand, and they're not connected to their soul. They're connected to their own individual beliefs on something and the human perspective on it. But God's not out here sitting and being like, that's bad. They're all experiences. They're just experiences. You take what you do from it. You learn from it. You expand as a soul. And most of the time, you agreed to it or you participated in it. And God's not going to be like, you shouldn't do that. So when God starts labeling things as good, bad, right, wrong, evil, I'm absolutely not. Absolutely not. In the 42 years, 3 years that I've communicated with Jesus and God, not a single one of them. Now, I have said to God or Jesus, like, this is an entity, isn't it? In the understanding that they understand what I perceive as an entity, and they will respond with yes. There's no opinion on it. There's no, you should do this. It can be, now what do you want to do with it? You have 100% of the power. You come to this earth to tap into your power, not the negative power inside my free community. I have a masterclass on power and magnetism, and it talks about the difference between low vibrational power, which is control and greed and all that kind of stuff, and high vibrational power, which is amazing and expansive and soul connected. Your ultimate job here is to connect with your soul. The reason you came here is because you decided it, not because God told you to come here, not because God gave you a job to do. Whatever you're doing here, it's because you agreed. I've talked to thousands of spirits and beings. And I remember one time, right after my fiance passed away, I had said to him, and this I will never forget, and I had been hearing the answer for a very long time, but I went and saw a shaman. And this was months after my fiance passed away. And I remember she did this crazy thing, which I've never seen anybody else do this. She did automatic writing. So she would let my fiance come in and write, but she wrote backward. So like she was like, I have no idea what it's saying. You even had to hold it up to a mirror, filthy, messy, like hard to decipher. But in it, one of the things that he said was, you're not being judged. There is no right or wrong. God's not like that. You don't understand. Humans don't understand what God is actually like. I will never forget that, because that is exactly what I've known my entire life, is that you're not being judged. It's not what people say. God is not what people say God is. And that is super important to understand and remember when you're connecting, okay? The next thing is, if you feel like the entity, the being, God, Jesus, is separating you from self or from others, it's a huge red flag. It's a no. Especially like people who love you and are supporting you, or disconnecting you from like your true identity and what feels really good to you. No, that's what they want. They want separation. They want disconnection. They want you to be out of your power. When you're connected to your soul, you're in your power. When you're not connected to your soul, that's when other beings can take your power, okay? And here's a really good one. And here's a really powerful one that is so important. Is not a single time when I've ever connected with God or Jesus, including the time when Jesus was standing at the end of my bed. At that moment, I didn't know who he was. I was just like, okay, here's this being who's standing there and talking to me, has this beautiful energy and this beautiful light. Because God and Jesus, they don't emphasize their name when they show up. They're not like, hi, I'm God. Hi, I'm Jesus. Never in the existence of ever have either of them once stated, this is God talking to. Never. Never. God doesn't need to announce himself. Neither does Jesus. They hold a specific energy and a specific vibration. Now, could you ask, like, hey, who's talking to me? Yep. But an entity can fill in the blank as well. It is a specific vibration that God shows up of, that Jesus shows up of. They do not announce their entry. They do not announce their entry. You know who it is because of that connection, because of that feeling, because of that beautiful energy. There's no doubts about it at all. Okay. So this is how you're going to know. I want you to pay attention to those things. And when those things show up, I want you to be really aware, okay? But when those things show up and when you're communicating and this entity is out there and this entity is telling you all those things, what can you actually do? As well as what is going to help you to not let these entities come in, okay? For one, it's going to be super, super important. And this is something that I teach every single person that I teach any psychic development for. I don't let you talk to guides. Like if you do it on your own, that's one thing. I don't teach communication with guides. I don't teach communication with departed loved ones. I don't teach communication with God or Jesus or anybody until I know that you actively know how to read energetics and you're good at it. Okay? That is the only thing that's going to help you to discern and decipher who you're actually talking with. It's like turning the lights on when somebody comes to your door. It is basically having a security system when somebody's knocking on your channel because they want to give you the information. So it's going to be really important for you to dive into how do you read energetics? What does energetics actually look like? Really know energy. Everybody in the coaching world talks about energy, but very few people actually understand it to the depths that you need to understand it to be able to protect yourself, to be able to do your due diligence when you're connecting with things as you should. I would not take business advice from almost anybody who is not nearly as successful as I am or has created the businesses that I have. So why are you communicating with beings that you don't even know what they've done? You don't know what their standards are. You don't know who they are. You don't know where they get information from. We have to remember that there are all types of beings out there. So the more that you understand how to use your channels, how to use energetics, how to read energetics, it's like a fail-safe firewall. Like there's no entities that come in. Because the minute I see an entity, even if an entity is not my client, they're like, oh, I'm done. See ya. Because they can't fool me. They can't fool me. I know who they are. I know it's the minute I see one. I don't even have to talk to them. If you have an entity on you, I can feel it the minute you say hello to me. That's super, super important. Okay. Now, if you find that you are connecting to an entity or you're afraid that you are, there's any fear at all, stop communicating. Literally stop communicating. Tell them I am absolutely done communicating with you. Do not answer them. Do not respond to them. Do not even react. Do not communicate. Stop it. If you're using cards or a pendulum and you feel as if the being is communicating through them because they can, stop using them. Stop immediately. Okay. The next thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to dive into your fears, your misalignment, your lack of power, where you're giving away your trust or your power to, because those are all the reasons that this entity had the ability to come in and like hijack your channels and communicate with you. I want you to look at any fears, any resistances, any lack, any feeling of like worthlessness, any of those things, and heal them, clear them, be aware of them at minimal, because they will pry on them. Okay. Then next, you need to ask this entity to leave. Now, are all entities going to leave when you ask them to leave? No, they're not. I teach a whole course on removing entities, but it's a really great first step to stand in your power. To say, you are absolutely not welcome here. Please leave. I am not communicating with you. Please go. And this is going to be really important as well. And I compare a lot of things that I do with entities and beings to parenting. Once you tell them you're not communicating with them anymore, stop communicating with them. Stop. Stop. Just stop. It's like those parents that are like, I'm not talking to you until you put your dishes away. And then the kid continues to do whatever. And they continue to say, I'm not talking to you. You have to put the dishes away. They continue to talk to them. Don't do that. Literally stop. Ignore them. If you feel them here, push their energy out. Do not communicate. You can ask them to leave, hold the intention of leaving, and then do not communicate again. They want your attention. They want a rise out of you. They want to trigger the fears or the disbelief or the separation or whatever it is. If you don't give them that response, they will go. They will go. If you hold tight to, I'm not doing this, I don't care, you don't bother me, and it has to be truthful. That's why I want you to work through the fears and remove them. They will leave. The next thing that's going to be super powerful for you to do is connect with your soul. Connect within, not out. Our soul is within. So connect within. And don't try to hear it. You don't need to communicate with your soul because then you're opening up your communication. Just feel into the soul. Just feel that power activate within inside of you. Your soul holds a connection to the other side, but to a high vibrational frequency on the other side. Your soul holds the truth. Your soul holds the consciousness that you have the ability to tap into regarding your life. The better you are at connecting in with your soul, the less chance that an outside being is going to be able to grab your attention or pull your energy away. Also, because your soul has a higher vibrational frequency than you do. You're either connected to your soul or you're connected to your fear and your ego. If you're connected to your fear and your ego, it is a window wide open for an entity. If you're truly connected to your soul, you'll be in alignment, you'll be living life, you'll be loving things will feel really good, you'll be manifesting the things that you want, and the entity will have absolutely no place, okay? And last, what's super, super important is get help. I cannot even tell you how many times people have reached out to me and said, hey, what is going on? What is this? Reach out to somebody you trust. Get a second opinion. If a being really won't leave you alone because they can just stay there, hire someone to remove them. It is not just this, mythical fantasy that there's low vibrational spirits out there. Some of them can do some pretty bad things, really bad things. We're not diving into it here today, but they can do some really bad things. It's not something to play around with. Most of them will leave on their own. If you ignore them and you tell them to leave, they don't have a right to be here. They are not welcome in your space. You're not communicating, full stop. They should leave. But not all of them do, especially if you hold fear and they feel like they can mess with you and they can trigger you. It's going to be super, super important for you to get the help that you need, okay? God is not out here trying to push you back towards religion. It's just not. Whether it's Christianity or Catholicism or Judaism, whatever it is, Jesus and God are not out here recruiting. They're not doing that. They're not telling you that you're a bad person. They're not making a list of all the things that are bad and evil. You are here to experience life and to discern that for yourself. There is nothing evil in the spiritual world specifically, meaning tarot cards are not bad. Can somebody in a low vibrational energy create tarot cards that hold low vibrational energy? Yeah, absolutely. You should be paying attention to who creates whatever. Can low vibrational beings use dowsing rods and use cards and communicate through them and pendulums and any of those things? Yeah. Can low vibrational energy get into a crystal? Yeah. But is a crystal evil and bad? No. So what is going to be important is for you to be able to discern for yourself what is bad, what isn't right. Is communicating with departed loved ones on the other side bad, and every single departed loved one that you're communicating the devil or evil? Absolutely not. Although there are some religions that say that. And one of the things that's going to be really important is to not take people's stories or people's interpretation of their truth. This is something that I say to all of my clients, whether you're in any of my private programs, whether you're in any of my group development programs, you're in my membership, is that if somebody says to you doesn't feel right, it's not for you. I don't care if it's me saying it. I don't care if you're sitting through this entire podcast and you're like, this doesn't feel right for me. I absolutely believe that yoga and Harry Potter and whatever else is meditation is the devil's work. And I actually absolutely believe that I'm here just to serve God and Jesus. Cool. I want you to align with what feels right to you because that's what we teach. That's what we're here to do. But if it doesn't, and it feels like your whole life is being disrupted, or you're seeing psychic after psychic after psychic moving towards religion, 9 times out of 10, it's out of fear. 9 times out of 10, it's because they don't trust their journey in life. 9 times out of 10, it's because they're disconnected from themselves, because they're uncertain. They don't know what their truth is. They don't believe in a higher faith. So they need that. And ultimately, when we're in that space, whatever it is that you're worshiping, and God and Jesus, just for the record, don't want to be worshiped. They don't want to be worshiped at all, at all. But when you're doing that out of a fear or a lack or feeling unworthy, it's all low vibrational energy, every single one of it. And low vibrational energy will just keep pulling you deeper and deeper and deeper. Whenever we're in low vibrational energy, our goal is to work opposite. So there are a lot of entities out there. There are a lot of entities that are working to communicate with you, to take your power away, to get you off your path. You come here to do something really powerful and really important with the world. The more advanced you are as a psychic or a healer or energy worker, the harder the resistance will come from entities till you reach a certain point, and then they won't mess with you anymore. They don't want to see the world expand and evolve in a beautiful way. They want to see us stuck in torture and in chaos and in fear. So they're going to try to keep you out of your purpose, out of your power, disconnected, and in fear and chaos. But if you follow these things of how to know and of what you can do, they don't have anything on you. They cannot hold you back. Okay? So it's going to be super important when you're communicating with God, when you're getting those messages from Jesus, make sure that they're really from Jesus and they're not from a false entity trying to sway you, trying to take away your power, or trying to keep you disconnected from yourself and from true source God energy. Okay? If this resonated with you, please be sure to click the like and subscribe button. If you want to join me live, please be sure to follow me. Click the link below. I go live almost every Wednesday, 3:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I will see you guys next time on the Carrie Cardozo Psychic Within podcast. See you guys next time.